Tonight on episode 80 of the Guy at the Movies podcast with Joe and Sean, we are joined by Jared from JBuck Studios, and we'll dive into Daniel Radcliffe playing Weird Al Yankovic in a movie, Joss Whedon still being an asshole, and a lot of other stuff, including Scream, Peacemaker, and a whole lot more. Tune in now and enjoy.
Change the game just now. I have a rave.
These are the best ideas I've ever heard.
I'm saying that's the commentary that will exist.
A Barbie girl in a Barbie world.
Defiled Mickey Mouse.
Oh my god!
That Brando one always gets me at the end because I think it's absolutely hilarious.
Oh my God.
Welcome to the Guy at the Movies podcast with Joe and Sean. I am Joe, he is Sean, and we are joined by Jared of JBuck Studios. Jared, thanks so much for joining us for some fun tonight.
Hey, yeah, no, it's been long overdue. I appreciate the invite. We had some. Not gonna lie, I was flustered before this podcast because I think the audio was getting pushed to the microphone. I don't know how technology works, folks.
It's insane. And I feel like StreamYard takes whatever usually works and just flips it on its head. So, hey, great service, but also we could use some improvements.
Yeah, get
My
it together.
suggestion was to just scream louder, but it didn't really work out too great. But
I don't know if you hear this, but there's like music playing. Someone's singing.
Are you on the set of In the Heights?
Oh my gosh! Open up the window.
It's really weird. I don't know what's happening.
Oh wait, yeah, something's up.
Do you hear
what is
that? I don't know.
What's going on in your neighborhood? This is good. This is good fodder.
Hello?
It sounds like it's in my apartment. It's in the house.
I mean, they've already done a bunch of Zoom horror movies, so if they do one while we're live on a podcast, I'll be sorely disappointed.
But have they done a Zoom horror musical? Don't think so.
Do you know what it was? I don't know how this happened, but my phone just started playing iTunes through my Apple HomePod.
Wow.
I don't know what's happening. Technology tonight.
Yeah,
Technology tonight.
To just bring it down the moral to all of this.
Mm-hmm.
Technology. Here we are. Technology thankfully gives us a lot of great films and a lot of armpit sweat right there, apparently. But we're going to start tonight by watching the trailer for a new film that's coming out that has intrigued me since I first heard of it. It is a Foo Fighters movie called Studio 666, and it looks bonkers in all the best ways. I haven't watched the full trailer, but the clips I've seen have been very entertaining. So we'll watch, comment, as always, enjoy.
Foo Fighters, you gotta get me a record.
It's our 10th album.
We got Jeff Garland.
Great mold on this one. Let's go somewhere we've never been.
This place is amazing.
Do you guys get this overwhelming sense of death? It doesn't really seem like the right fit. Whoa, it's rad. That was weird. The sound of this house is the sound of album 10.
All right, you guys, amps, living room.
Let me apologize in advance for all the rock we're about to make.
Got a couple guys have been working on. I'll lay them on you.
Wait. It's called Everlong, and you wrote it about 20 years ago.
How you feeling? Everything okay?
Ever since we moved into this house, my mind is flooded.
We all have writer's block.
This is not just a creepy rock and roll house. It allows spiritual entities to cross into our world.
Oh my God! Dude has got one flew over the cuckoo's nest crazy.
It's this place, man. Let's finish the track.
Can we just wait, dude?
Play the drums.
You found a new musical note?
Hell yes, I did.
It's an L.
Any chefs in the group?
I'm pretty handy on the grill.
Yeah, you like your meat charred and dry.
He does make a killer barbecue.
What do we do?
We could save his ass.
Is the album almost done?
Yeah, it's killer.
you go, man. Finish the song.
You did.
I want to know what led to the creation of this.
I mean, it's them sort of. This is the kind of situation where you get the Learn to Fly music video, where it's Tenacious D putting drugs in the coffee and everybody going insane except for them. And like, this is where you get this. This is a gigantic music video that is straight up insanity. And it's just going to be just great collabs. I was worried at first. I was worried, oh man, can they really carry a movie? I mean, Dave Grohl's funny, but is he funny enough to like be a leading man? It seems like this is insane enough that, sure, he's going to be.
Yeah, it definitely has that like schlocky kind of made at horror, like you're saying, music video type thing where it's just going to be a collection of those characters dealing with stuff, building a music video. But also, wasn't there a handful of like comedian? Was Will Forte in there at one point?
I thought I saw Forte.
I believe it's Will Forte. I know Jenna Ortega's in there.
Whitney Cummings
on screen.
Yeah.
Whitney Cummings in there. So it seems like Leslie Grossman. Seems like they have a lot of random comedians and other people.
They'll be there to kind of elevate the musician portion of this because they cannot carry this whole. And I think the Foo Fighters are smart enough to know that they can be somewhat funny, but they'll need something to drive it. And they're trusting in this, which I really love. Yeah,
Jeff Garlin at the beginning. I know
that was Garlin.
I heard you, Sean, react to that.
I was so excited because I just finished Curb, so I was like, "Yep, Jeff Garlin, there he is again."
Are either of you Foo Fighters fans?
I mean, I enjoy their music. I wouldn't say I'm a fan. I mean, yeah, they have good music.
Yeah, my problem is I'm not a fan of music. I only watch movies and listen to podcasts. So like, it's just like when someone asks me, like, do you like this band? I'm like, I mean, I don't know. Like, I like live music when I get a beer in my hand as well. Like, that's fun.
Right.
That's all I can really say to the music portion of this game we call life.
This game called Life. I remember growing up, like they were always that band that had music, like you said, Learn to Fly, and there's some others that always would pop on, and you're like, oh yeah, it's the Foo Fighters. Like they're just kind of synonymous with like me being a teenager and even college and stuff. So kind of cool to see them doing something different. Like it's their 10th album, so like let's fucking make a movie. Why not?
Are they truly making a 10th album? That's the one thing. Like, is this all going to connect? Because that would be kind of amazing.
That's what I was wondering is, if this is a whole big thing where it's almost like a marketing for their 10th album, and at the very end, it's like, hey, it's out now or something. Then it's like, okay, there's something cool there, but maybe it's not.
Yeah.
If it downloads on everyone's iPhone as they leave the theater,
you get
like as you buy the ticket on Fandango, it's just like, damn it.
There'll be a song download or something, like, oh, unlock your special reward now. That never downloads.
The post-credit scene is a QR code to get the album.
Insane. All right, let's shift gears. We had the Moon Knight trailer debut last night during Monday Night Football. This, of course, is the upcoming Marvel series. It's kind of taken a different turn in terms of introducing a character that I guess I was going to say a different turn, but that's how the MCU really started off, was diving into the well of characters. But Moon Knight is more of a modern character and a more modern story in terms of when it came out. But what did you guys, Jared, what did you think of the trailer when you saw it?
I mean, I'm going to be clear. I don't know anything about this Moon Knight character at all. And I admitted it right before my reaction. Okay, good. I mean, I always say, oh, Marvel's doing something different. This one does actually truly. I'm like, this has my interest. Some of the stuff from the last year, whatever, I'm going to watch it. But it's like a psychological thriller, unreliable narrator story. Like right there, I'm totally on board because if what we're seeing, what if you watch a whole episode and it's like that all just happened in his head? Might be, kind of a cop out and whatnot, but also it's like, oh, this guy's truly an insane character.
Yeah.
Plus, the one shot when he's beating up that Anubis werewolf in a bathroom, you could have showed me that 5-second clip and I would be like, okay, you got my money. Like,
I'm with you there. I got to be honest, and Sean, I think I'm saying this before you do because I think you're probably going to go this route too. I felt like there was so much that trailer was trying to do, and that this is going to have a heavy lift of a show. Meaning, if this is the first show from Marvel that really is introducing a brand new character we haven't seen before as the titular character. And that's, I think, a heavy lift because we need to, number one, understand the history of this character to become, I mean, I guess Oscar Isaac really helps to pull you in right away. But 3, it's only 6 episodes. So,
okay.
Like, that's a lot to do in 6 episodes. But I don't know. Sean, what are your thoughts?
So I was going to say, if it's 6 episodes, that's going to be a really, really rough pull. That's not going to be great, especially for something when you're going to go this, like, you know, like psychoanalytical with it. I will say, you know, if this is like, let's say Hawkeye did a lot and fanned out with a lot of villains. And you know what? I had a blast. It was a lot of fun. But by like, you know, the 5th episode, I'm like, okay, how are they going to reel this in? They did a pretty okay job at it. I was fine with it. This is something where you can't fan out with a lot of villains, okay? Because there's a lot that's going on here, all right? We saw Ethan Hawke. The guy looks great. Let's have him be the
That's it. That's all we need.
just have Hawke versus Isaac in this situation. I mean, or, you know, just hit like Isaac versus himself. I don't know where this goes. I honestly love how much they're leaning into this show, like, and the strangeness of it. I don't know where this goes. I don't know if this goes to a 2nd season. I don't know if this goes to a movie. I don't know if this just ends in this limited series and we just don't even talk about these characters anymore. Because, like, how long are they going to be able to keep Oscar Isaac and Ethan Hawke? The fact that this is happening is crazy. I want to see this because the fact that it's happening is crazy. That Ethan Hawke and Oscar Isaac are in a Marvel series, not a movie, a series. Everything about this screams just an absolute hit for me. You can't have that just for that. However, the 6 episodes does bother me, and I need this 6 episodes thing to stop. At least go to 8 for me. There's 2 more where you got to get some characters in, the character development in there. But either way, still excited.
That's kind of been my problem. I feel like is the 6 episodes just doesn't feel like it's enough. And again, I don't want them to extend something out that's not going to be reasonable to extend out. But maybe this is going to be, or like, you know, this whole year is, like you're saying, bringing in these new characters, Moon Knight, She-Hulk, Ms. Marvel, that we've never seen essentially in live action or in the MCU. Maybe these are just excuses for an extended movie. Like if they make this 6 episodes, that's rather not a series, but more of a movie, I'm on board for.
Yeah.
But again, I think, like you're saying, 1 or 2 episodes is just introducing the lore and the character. And then it's like, well, what do you do with the other 4?
And sometimes these do seem like a like these 6 episode arcs do seem like a movie. I mean, we got that with Falcon and the Winter Soldier. That was just a movie. I mean, I'm like, yeah, sure, they did organize the episodes properly and everything, but you could tell you saw the bones of a movie in there that they said, hey, let's slice and dice this baby into 6 eps. And you could see that in a lot of these, and I'm worried that might have been that might be the situation with Moon Knight. I don't know where the wheelings and dealings went with, you know, hey, can we make it a movie? Can we make it a series? That was, you know, something from behind the curtain. But regardless, it intrigues me without a doubt.
I would like you to know that one of the writers attached to this,
oh god,
wrote 1 episode of The Umbrella Academy.
Okay,
wrote 20 episodes of The Exorcist TV series.
There was one.
I never even knew that.
Get ready. We're
the more you know.
Yeah, we're getting better, if you will. Death Note. And the Fantastic Four screenplay. The new one.
Okay.
2015 one?
Yep.
Oh, okay. Wait, why was I asking as if any of those would have been like an okay situation? Shit.
And then the next one after, he's the head writer of Moon Knight. The next movie he's doing is Wiley Coyote.
Ooh, yes, the character we wanted much more about.
Yes.
I can see you're on IMDb right now. Go ahead and click on that Wiley Coyote. Who is playing Wiley Coyote? What voice work are we going to see from Wiley Coyote? Is it
who is the Scarlett Johansson?
Yes, oh wow, she has
taking the jobs of coyotes. Like this is the problematic themes we have with this whole thing.
There's nothing. There's no news about it other than he's doing it. Hey, I'm all for it because I think Moon Knight is a really cool concept. It's a heavy concept, it seems. So I hope that they have it fleshed out and are able to do well by the character, not only to introduce him and give him some legs, but also to not just have us like off on the side here with Moon Knight and then back to like the normal MCU stuff. Like I hope they really intertwine what's going on here at some point. I will say Go ahead, Jared.
Oh, I'm just saying, like, theory wise, obviously it's got to connect to Blade somehow. That'd be the one, because I think that they want to lean into that supernatural nature of it. And I'm wondering if Moon Knight is kind of that entry point.
And I'm wondering if Black Knight then shows up as well from
Mm-hmm.
Eternals, because they didn't do much with him. I will say that when I was just Googling on the Google, Emily Van Camp was listed on one website as a potential. So also George Clooney is rumored to direct an episode or have directed an episode. So
wait, is that real?
True story. The Tender Moon Knight.
Yep, but it's 40 minutes of them just drinking espresso.
What is happening here? What is going on? What is this show?
Marvel's running out of people.
Like,
so it looks like you're next.
Marvel is kind of like the CDC. It's like, we don't know what we're doing anymore. Just do whatever you want. I'm sick of your crap. You guys bitch about whatever we do. So you know what? Do whatever you want.
All right, let's get into what we've been watching. We did have the first major release of 2022 this past weekend, unless you count the 355, but I don't think you were a big fan of that either, Jared. So
I decided, 2022, I don't need to go to every movie. I didn't go to that movie.
Smart.
It was you know what? That's a fine resolution, sir.
Yeah.
The first big one we had this year was Scream. It is the 5th in the Scream series, a requel, if you will. And it had a pretty good weekend. It made $30 million over the 3 days and $34 million over the 4-day weekend, which is pretty solid for a January debut in general, but also kind of continues the success of certain horror franchises when they release in January. So fun that we got a new Scream movie. I, for one, really enjoyed it, but I'll default to you, Sean, to start off here. How did you feel about Scream?
I mean, this movie sort of teeters along the line of placing its head right up its own ass, and you really have to toe that line carefully. I mean, The Matrix just did it and pretty solidly failed at it. Like, where it's one of those things where it was like, oh, you're doing a thing about redoing The Matrix, and you're gonna like insult your fans, and that's not a great idea because your fans are sitting in the theater and they're gonna be kind of pissed. Scream does it in that playful way. This 5th edition does it in a playful fashion. They handle like the toxic fandom in a better way than usually toxic fandom is handled. They make the cracks, like what was one of the cracks was just like, this one really went downhill after the 5th movie, and that's where I roll the eyes, and I'm like, okay, you're gonna do that. That's fine, I get it. I will say this was just a great horror film. If you love the original Scream, you'll love this one. Really, it has all of the stuff. Now, some people could argue, a copy of it, or it's a little bit unoriginal. And I say, I mean, it's a tribute. Like it's a tribute that brings something new to it. It brings something fun to it. I can't argue with some of the criticism. But I loved it and I had a lot of fun. I mean, the directors are Radio Silence, and I'm saying them because I don't remember the names of them. But Radio Silence, they did Ready or Not. I forgot that I actually forgot that that was like big directing news a while back that we covered, and they have fun. Ready or Not was so much fun. This was so much fun. I wasn't horrifyingly scared in this like I was in something like the Lighthouse, not the Lighthouse. Well, scared in the Lighthouse, I guess, but the Night House. The Night House, or something like that, where I like couldn't breathe or anything like that. This was just like I was jumping in my seat and I was having a great time. There's just like great filmed fun stuff in there. And the last point I'll make right now, and then I'll probably keep talking after that, but last point I'll make right now is, this cast. This cast is the future of Hollywood. They're like some of the most talented people in Hollywood right now. They're in like some of the most popular shows, some of the most popular movies. They're just rising in talent, and they'll be there. I meant to like put up IMDb to list their names, because I will list down to like the 17th lead, because they are all very, very good. But we've seen them in a lot of stuff, and we're going to see them in some future things. But this movie is just like an absolute blast, and I'm just so happy that this made 34 million in COVID times as well. Yeah. And it shows that it's not just about the horror movie; it's about like having fun with the horror movie and like really getting involved in that. But I talked a lot, but I really did love this movie.
Jared, I don't think I saw your review, but what did you think of Scream 5 or Scrimf, whatever you want to call it?
Scrim. Yeah, 5 Cream. I feel like both of you, I'm assuming, are probably bigger Scream fans than me. I didn't watch them until about a year ago for the first time.
That's me, actually.
And I love Scary Movie more. That's just the way I am. I grew up with Scary Movie, all that stuff. I went into this though, and it's funny because Sean, like what you mentioned, about halfway through, I'm like, oh, this is the Matrix Resurrections of the Scream franchise. And it doesn't lean that far into it. I mean, I understand what they're doing. They're playing into the meta. The Scream franchise has always, from what I gathered, had done that. They kind of were poking fun, but also evolving and whatnot. I was kind of middle of the road. I liked seeing the OG cast and stuff, but like the newer additions, I'm just like, I don't care about these characters. Yep. It again, to me, I walked out and I'm like, well, that was a Scream sequel, for good or for worse. I liked it more than I didn't. It just, I don't know. I guess when people were coming out saying it was the second coming of Jesus or like changing the horror genre or slasher genre you've never seen. And I'm like, I've seen this. There's 4 other movies that are this movie. Right. That's how
there was a problem with that. I will like people, and I just did it right now, but because I get high energy, but there were people that go a little bit hard on the movie or like, go like,
and again, that goes into the whole fandom and everything of it. I guess I kind of was like, okay, I know the beats. I know what's going to happen here. And, they did have some decent surprises. There's a lot of, let's open this cupboard or this refrigerator or this mirror. I'm like, oh, you're going to get me. You're going to get me.
They didn't get you.
No,
and then notice that it was worse than that. At one time, there was like they would close the cupboard, and then also there was a black jacket being hung.
Yep,
and
or the one down in the basement as well with like the ironing board. I was like, oh, you mother trucker!
I was pissed.
They knew what they were doing.
Yeah.
The reason I enjoyed it so much was because I feel like, Jared, what you just said, most of the Scream movies follow the same beats, and this definitely does as well. But what I wanted to do was have fun when I went. I have fun with the Scream series because it doesn't take itself too seriously. And that's very much what I came out of this feeling like it accomplished. The new characters were, I thought, a lot of fun. The only one that I struggle with a little bit, and I've thought about this a lot, but Melissa Barrera in the lead. Obviously, I love her in the Heights. But in this, there were some times where I was like, oh, yeah, okay, great, love it. And then others, I was like, oh, here we go again. Like, it's just the same old character, there's a connection to the original. And that was pretty cool, by the way, how they brought him back.
I agree. When that first happened, I was like, oh, okay, this is different.
It was a little bit tough with the effects. I mean, like the first time they talk to each other is fine. And then the next time in the car, I was kind of like, oh boy. We're seeing the gentleman at his ripe age right now, and it's tough because he didn't get to that age. We're needling the spoiler right now. We're okay. We're good.
Yes. So I enjoyed it overall. I really enjoy this. I will tell you that the characters that survive at the end were the characters I liked the most.
Yeah,
save one. So I was kind of pumped about that because I'm like, all right, this is who they're gonna carry on with. But then I started thinking, like, what do they carry on to? What's next? And that's where I start to get concerned. I wish this was a cap and an ending.
I agree.
Because I'm worried now we're just gonna do what we did before and start beating it into the ground. But I guess as long as they're making money, look at all the other horror franchises, right? We're about to get Saw 10 in a year and a half.
Hell yeah. That was my biggest kind of concern. And again, that doesn't affect this movie. It's just kind of like, where do you go from here? Because, there's an interesting angle with the kind of 2 leads, but the other characters that survived, you could patch something together, but it's just like, oh, so is this a handoff of the baton or are we going to spin this in a different direction? Who knows?
And what's funny, hearing you say that, it just made me realize I don't know that we ever got complete closure with those 2 leads that you're referring to. I mean, there could be closure based on how the story went, and there were some nice lines that Sidney Prescott has with Melissa Barrera's character. You like how I just mixed their fictional characters with their real names?
I like it.
And the less famous person with the more famous.
Right. Nev Campbell, obviously. But I don't know. Like, Courtney Cox can't have another procedure on that face to make another movie. This is terrible, and I mean this in the nicest way because I love her to death. But her lips were wider than her head, and I had a problem with that. It was very obvious.
It was at this point where I think it was just a bit like maybe the procedure wasn't like settled in yet, and it was just at a bad time. I honestly, because there's no way that was final product. Like
it could have been humid on the set. You don't know.
I do want to talk about this. I think this Scream 1 and Scream 5 are perfect bookends. The final shot is the same because it's the same ending house. And it's just one of those things where it looks perfect. It is perfect. And I think I've seen about 1 billion movies that have done that same thing where the final shot and the first shot are the same. Toy Story comes to mind. 1 and 3, perfect. They both start and end in the clouds. And then
let's add another one.
and I think like it's obviously, the obvious thing is money grab, but they do want to see where they can take the story and the characters. I mean, if we're going to talk about a Scream 6 and they want to take it from the meta angle, it's wait a minute, like, I don't know, I'm not going to be the writer here, but it's like, wait a minute, I thought we were finished with this and we had the bookends. No, the Texacorp wants money, and so then the murderer comes to there we go. That's done. But I have heard already, and this is like not even substantiated rumors, but I've heard from a couple of articles that Radio Silence has made casual comments where they say, yeah, we'd want to do another one. And of course they would. They love it. They're having fun.
They probably mapped out like where they could go if this was going to be a success. I think like bringing on Radio Silence, you're going to want to see like where they could go with it. And I'm sure, I guarantee you that the studio wasn't like, hey, finish the series here. Like, like they want to leave it open a little bit if they decide to go that route.
You kill everyone,
whether that's next year or it's 10 years from now, like between 4 and 5. What I do enjoy is that while we spent a lot of time in the hospital in this one, we didn't have her just laying there the entire movie like in Halloween Kills.
Yeah, but Evil died that night.
Evil died that night.
Meeting some poor mental patient that was 4 foot tall. And
it's the tall guy that beats up everyone. Get him.
It's like, not me. I will never stop. Terrible. I will never stop being bothered by that tiny little detail that I couldn't get through it.
All right, let's switch gears real quick and talk about this briefly. But Peacemaker debuted last week with the first 3 episodes. The reason I say briefly is because I haven't watched the 3rd episode yet. Jared, I was mentioning before you got on that I was traveling this weekend, and I watched the first 2 before I got on the plane. And then I wanted to watch the 3rd one, but I was so afraid of what was going to pop on that screen. And I was so nervous that people were going to see like John Cena naked again or something. Because it's
just swinging dong, That show's not shying away from its graphic nature of things for sure.
It is a raunchy ass show. But what do you feel about Peacemaker so far?
It's funny because I just finished episode 3, I think earlier today, because I understand that you're wanting to kind of give people a feeling of what this show is going to be. And I think 3 episodes is right. But also it's like, I don't got time for 3 episodes right now. But I'm really surprised how graphic it's getting. Obviously, the humor is going to be there. I'm surprised. Like, I didn't really care for his character in Suicide Squad, but like through these first 3 episodes, I'm like, oh, this guy, there's more to him. This show has heart. Like, it's really diving into kind of, face value. You have these like dick jokes, but then it's like, oh, he doesn't have any friends, or he's having like potentially PTSD and stuff. So like, I'm really liking it. And as DC's first kind of spin-off into making their own like series, it's a solid start.
Yeah. Sean, what are your thoughts?
I mean, pretty much the same. We're seeing some sort of undercurrent there. I loved the Peacemaker character in the Suicide Squad just because of how dumb he was. Like, it was just like this like very dumb comedic character, and I think Cena kind of knew how to like portray that comedy, but there wasn't much to him beneath the surface in the movie. I think he just kind of became the Terminator. He became the robot that had to complete the mission, and that was all he cared about. And in the situation now, he's a little bit different, where he's either bothered by what happened. He has, like you said, PTSD, issues with who he has to kill. You see that he definitely has daddy issues, and throw daddy issues into any DC property, and you're there already. That's it. I think that there's something great about it where it is like unique in its presentation, in its comedy. It does not hold back. The moment I saw his helmet does the sonic boom, I said, oh cool, God, his helmet is going to do the sonic boom and it's going to knock her back. No, it doesn't knock her back. The sonic boom explodes her into just a billion, liquefies her. And so I'm like, okay, so we've arrived at this. I think James Gunn has been given the keys to the car. Now, we always say that, and then he always does something unexpected, but now he doesn't have guardrails. Now he doesn't have like any sort of situation where it's like, hey, you can't really, like do that much violence or that much nudity or that many dick jokes. I think now he can do that stuff. And we saw that in the beginning of Suicide Squad, but I think for some reason on a series, you can go a little bit further there. Yeah. The last thing I'll mention is, it's young, it's early, and I'd have to compile a lot of other opening intros for television shows.
Oh my God.
It's probably the greatest TV opening intro, and Gunn designed it so that we wouldn't skip intro. Like, he truly designed it so that we wouldn't. But the deadpan seriousness everyone has of this dumbass dance they're having, and the characters that are showing up that have had 2 lines in just the first episode, and I hope don't return just for the fact that I just want them to like literally be there for like 2 seconds in this crazy dance. I'm sort of in awe. I not only like don't skip it when I'm watching the show, I have watched it on YouTube. It is available on YouTube. Like, they have it available. I mean, it's available on YouTube. I sound like an old man. It's available on the YouTube. It is available from the HBO Max site. They know what they're doing. They love that this is happening. And that sort of portrays everything we have here. It's this silly, ridiculous show that is gonna, have something going on to it. That like there's this interesting conspiracy theory, this government conspiracy theory here. It's kind of deadpan. It's kind of dead plate. I know what's going on there, or maybe there'll be a twist or two, but it's still fun.
I can't disagree with anything any of you said. All I want to know is I want to see behind the scenes. I saw pictures of filming the opening, but I want to see behind the scenes, like him being like, here's what we're going to do. Because just that communication had to have been like bonkers to be like, hey, James Gunn, have this great filmography and all that. Here's what I would like you to do for the opening of this Peacemaker show. How do you feel about it?
Well, because some of these actors, I mean, like, I'm trying to think of this because John Cena's probably having a blast. Danielle Brooks, pretty famous at this point. After that, there's not a hell of a lot of famous actors. So you could tell they are just like, all right, getting that check by doing this dumbass dance.
Wait, you want me to go up and go like this? And he's like, yeah, but don't smile at all.
Don't smile at all.
Okay.
And then Robert Patrick. You're asking the T-1000 to do this goofy ass dance, which that's the one I want to be there for. John Cena would do anything, I think. He's a goofball, but Robert Patrick doing this dance, it's like, what did they put in his drink to be able to have him do that? Like,
he's the one I think about with all that, because like just even the show itself is ridiculous, and for him to be involved in it just so much. I think it's absolutely hilarious. It's a good show. I'm actually having a lot of fun with it. It gives us something different. It is very James Gunn, but it's also different James Gunn. And I think that's great too. I'm wondering, I know that there's another spinoff that he's working on, like a TV series, probably similar to Peacemaker. I'm wondering if it's something with a character here or whatnot. There was an article out earlier today that at least one of the characters is most definitely going to return. Again, not having watched episode 3, I have a couple assumptions who that may be, but
there's so many goddamn characters actually. Like at this point, like I mean, and you see some of them in the opening credits, even if you haven't seen episode 3.
Yeah.
It's at this point, like at 3, I'm like, wow, they're really bringing a bunch in there, which is fine because in this one it's kind of like a gangs all here sort of like creepy, like creepy. Why creepy? Why did I say creepy? Crazy situation. I think I meant. Oh, I gotta stop talking. I keep talking.
Well, and even to have like Viola Davis reprise her role in the limited fashion so far, again, not having seen anything else, I just love that she was involved too. I was like, that's so like. They did it right. Like if you're going to do it and you have this weird spinoff, I hate when a spinoff seems like it's happening adjacent to the project it's spun off from. This feels like a continuation in a way, or a part of the world that was established in the Suicide Squad. And I'm very thankful for that.
Well, and also I think one thing that we're probably hopeful for, but like if this lands, they're going to be like, why don't we do more series and maybe just kind of forget this whole like, again, the whole DCEU is confusing right now. So like if they can find a way to like really please the fans, but also have a lot of fun and get that subscription money from HBO Max. Also, I'm sorry for anyone that doesn't live in the US or whatever, you can't watch this show. HBO, you got to do something about that.
That's really crazy, isn't it? Oh my gosh. All right, let's shift gears a little bit and just talk quickly about what we've watched. And if there is ever a pivot in one of our episodes, it's going to be this one. I watched a documentary called Beanie Mania because I was speaking of HBO Max. I love documentaries, and I was looking for something to watch on the plane the other day that was a little mindless. And I was like, oh, we'll see what this is. It is a bonkers documentary just about how like basically these 4 or 5 women really drove up the price of Beanie Babies in the 90s because Ty Warner did zero marketing and went to all the local mom and pop shops to just like drop them off and stuff. So it really just turned into this big thing based off of a lot of women across the country and whoever else developed an affinity towards Beanie Babies communicating online when AOL started. Which is the best. That was so funny to me when they were talking about chat rooms and stuff like that. But the Beanie Baby website started, and then people were valuing them at these ridiculous prices, which all ultimately came crashing down, and they're not worth shit. They're probably worth a little bit more than they were a couple years ago, but it's a really, really interesting documentary in that sense. Also because the owner, or the creator, I should say, of Beanie Babies and the owner of the Ty Warner company ends up kind of going back at these women and like suing one of them who started a magazine about Beanie Babies, helped drive up the cost of all these Beanie Babies. It was a huge circulation. He sued her for using the name and kind of just started like cannibalizing his biggest fans. So it's a fascinating story. I'm going to take this opportunity real quick just because it will make a lot of sense now. But there's another story that I wanted to reference in with Zack Galifianakis, Elizabeth Banks, and a bunch more, starring in a Beanie Baby movie called Beanie Bubble, and it's an actual comedy based off of the true story here. So the question is, so everything I just explained is really the preface of this movie. It's based on the book The Great Beanie Baby Bubble, Mass Delusion, and the Dark Side of Cute.
Oh my god!
Which I love that title.
I need Sarah Snook is in that movie according to the article, and I need Sarah Snook to be pardon me, is Shiv from Succession, and so I need her to be the cutthroat Beanie Baby businessman and just like take down everybody.
It's crazy. So I mean, that's coming down the road, and it's I'm highly entertained by the prospects of that movie just based on what I saw, because especially with these people involved, like Zack Galifianakis for one thing. I love Elizabeth Banks because I feel like she just does whatever. So I'm excited for that. But yeah, interesting documentary. Recommend it. It's not going to rock your socks, but if you grew up with Beanie Babies being shoved down your throat as collector's items, which I was, then it's kind of sad in a way. But Sean, you watched something very similar called The Tragedy of Macbeth.
Yeah, this was about a Scottish king named Macbeth who cornered the market on Beanie Babies.
Yes.
Who
could forget that?
So I watched some Shakespeare this weekend. So everybody bow to me because I'm the intellectual. So like I absolutely loved this movie. I watched the Joel Coen's The Tragedy of Macbeth. This was just truly a wonderful film. I absolutely loved it from start to finish. It is straight up Shakespeare. So if that's tough for you, that's the warning to give. The way I caution people to like understand Shakespeare or watch Shakespeare or enjoy Shakespeare is just kind of like go along for the ride. It's like, oh, you're not going to understand the whole thing. Nobody understands Shakespeare fully. It's a big hoax, but just like enjoy some of the words, enjoy some of what's saying, the actions that are taking place. And like, then there's some poetry in their actions that is like a lot of fun to do. Now that's all Shakespeare really is. It is, it's silly words that go along with the actions, and then it brings some pain in there as well with Macbeth. And I'm telling you, Denzel Washington is Macbeth. I think Shakespeare wrote this play with Denzel Washington in mind. I don't think anyone else can play this character. It is unbelievable how good Denzel is. He handles like the really like awkward soliloquies like perfectly. Like they're actually to be said by a person. Like, people talk to themselves all the time. That's perfectly fine. But he like kind of nails that. Like, he nails the pain, the conflict when he becomes king. He nails like being all of a sudden shifting to cocky without any of the Denzel Washington isms we all know and love. Like, we don't see Training Day Denzel, even though we could at the end. Like, we don't see, like, we see someone who's sort of like tired by the end. We see someone who's a little bit cocky at one point, but is more insecure than anything else. I mean, there was a while where I thought Denzel Washington wasn't getting nominated for an Oscar, and I just am now slapping myself every morning just because I'm like, I can't believe I thought that. And now that I've seen this, I cannot believe that that's not happening, because he is 100% getting nominated. And I mean, the actor race is looking great as it is anyway. Anyone should and could win. And at this point, like, he's looking beautiful. But I will say this also. The black and white, the theater structure of it, the production design, it makes it look like, you know, some people could roll their eyes and like, oh, cool, he just made a play. It just looks like a stage play. No, this is a world. This is all foggy, a world, like, it's like just beautiful. The actual castle is amazing and intricate. It's not just like, you know, just light. I mean, the lighting is there and does keep you secluded at times, but like, there's other times where you just see like you are trapped somewhere. The other performances, by the way, I didn't mention. Frances McDormand is great. Not a lot of screen time, but Lady Macbeth doesn't get a lot. She just tries to do some laundry and can't get a spot out. And you know, but so there's it's like I loved her in it. Catherine Newton played the three witches, which was just such a cool choice. Like, just such an unbelievably cool choice. And you know, only 2 scenes for them, but they were also quite a bit of fun. Corey Hawkins also not in it that much as Macduff. But still just love that guy, actually, he does a great emotional performance in it, but just, yeah, once again, not a lot of screen time, but this is all the Denzel Washington show. And, man, did I love this movie.
So how'd you feel about it?
You know,
no, I haven't seen it yet. I'm very excited to watch it, especially after that glowing review. I'm excited for that. Jared, what have you been watching?
I was about to watch The Tragedy of Macbeth, but yeah, someone had said it straight up Shakespeare. I'm like, not tonight. I've been watching a couple things, Netflix basically. One was a series I just finished up this last weekend called Archive 81, and essentially it's like this video archivist is hired by this kind of shady kind of businessman or whatever, and it's like, hey, I need you to restore these tapes from this fire. But then he finds out that he's connected somehow. And basically there's kind of this dual story of there's a story being told through these videotapes along with a present day story and kind of mystery, and there's a connection and whatnot. I mean, overall, I kind of enjoyed it. I like, you know, kind of creepy, weird VHS kind of mysteries and stuff like that. There was a movie earlier last year called Signal Intrusion, like Broadcast Signal Intrusion, that I really enjoyed. So it kind of has flavor of that and whatnot. Some good performances, again, some misdirects and whatnot, but then it becomes more of kind of a supernatural, demonic, cult type show at one point that I was like, okay.
Took a turn.
Yeah, it definitely took a turn, but like, I don't know, if you give it a couple episodes, if any of that jumps out at you, because I think by episode 3 I was like, oh, okay, I'm on board. But then another thing I watched on Netflix, and this is kind of, it's in the framework of a movie, but it's more of kind of a 3-part anthology thing called The House. And it's essentially, like I said, 3 different parts telling a story of a house from kind of its beginning, middle, and end. But the interesting thing is it's all like stop motion animation. And I can't remember what company did this, but that is easily the best part of this, is the detail that they put into each of because each story has a different kind of stop motion style, and the detail that they put into those is fantastic. And it's booked or billed as like a dark comedy. I mean, it's like a stop motion Black Mirror almost, because each story like very much reels you in, and it's kind of like a little bit sheen and, you know, beautiful from the outside, and then you start digging under the covers and you're like, oh, this is unsettling. And like a couple of them definitely were like, ooh, like I felt gross after them. So again, if you want to see some creepy stop motion stuff, check it out.
Sean, you looked like you were ready to go there.
So these are 2 places. Yeah, sorry, I looked up both of those. And I was just like, these are both ones I almost started on Netflix this weekend, and for no reason whatsoever, just decided against. And I did genuinely think The House was not even close to an adult thing. I was like, oh, cool, some kids animation thing and stuff like that. If I'm thinking that, I'm worried about actual kids.
Oh yeah, I turned it on because I was like, oh, this seems fun. And then I'm like, oh dear God, like 20 minutes into the first one, I'm like, oh, this is no kid should be watching this. And it's funny because, again, I made a video about that on TikTok, and a bunch of people were like, yeah, I tried to watch this with my kids. Not a good idea.
Usually there's more solid warnings of that one.
Especially Netflix, because this isn't their first like go around with an unsettling show that they later have to put a disclaimer on.
Netflix is like the one where they have like the black screen for 15 minutes that says the word fuck is used. Like, just so you know, like, it's just like, it's like, okay, we're ready. Like,
we are ready for this.
A lot of good stuff out there right now. It's kind of a weird time where theaters aren't getting a ton of new things. I mean, Scream certainly is the big one, and we'll talk a little bit about what's coming this weekend. But even just, I was looking up some news right now just to make sure that we're not missing anything as it breaks tonight. But The Kingsman is going to Hulu already in February. February 8th.
Nice.
And I think they're taking advantage of the market at this point and just trying to get the movie out there to make a little bit more. But Disney seems to be getting its footing when it comes to when to throw things on streaming to capitalize on what happened in theaters. We were just talking about Encanto, but also Eternals had 2 million people watch it in the first 5 days, which is really solid for that. So crazy what's going on, but a lot of good streaming things out there, and we'll mention some more before we wrap up tonight. One of the big streaming things coming up is going to be not one but 2 Red Notice sequels. Color me surprised. The deadline is saying that the plan is for the movies to be shot back to back, with Dwayne Johnson, Gal Gadot, and Ryan Reynolds to return, all schedule depending on this filming process. And writer-director Rawson Thurber is, also expected to return. But the interesting piece here, and Jared, I don't know how you felt about Red Notice, but this is what I thought was fascinating with this story. They're looking at going the direction, or at least comparing it to Ocean's 11, with bringing in additional characters and probably some big names, just given how this first film was, right? To try to expand sort of the heists and the stuff that are going on. What did you think of Red Notice first? And then are you interested in these sequels that might be coming down the road?
It was fine, I guess, for a Netflix movie, like that's the biggest thing is like The Rock was doing his thing. Ryan Reynolds was doing his thing, and Gal Gadot was just in the movie, I guess. I mean, she
made it in there.
Yeah, she was in there. I liked the buddy cop nature of it, but it was like, this feels like an at-home blockbuster. I probably would have not gone to it maybe in the movie theaters, but like it's good for Netflix, I guess. And I need to stop saying that because, like a lot of stuff goes to streaming now. Sure, I'll watch these, I guess. I hope it's more Ocean's 11 and less like 6 Underground,
Yeah.
Because that movie was real poopy.
Good action at the beginning, but
I mean, the first chase was amazing.
Watch the 18 minutes of the opening, and that's all you need to watch.
It's so true.
Do you think Dave Franco's just out at bars being like, I was in the good part of 6 Underground?
They actually signed him on because they were like, it's a short film. And he's like, okay. And then they didn't realize that they're going to tack it on to the rest of the movie.
Sean, what are your thoughts on this? I know you weren't the biggest fan of Red Notice, and I don't know if you called it this or if I'm putting words in your mouth, but it is kind of lazy in some ways of a film, and tries to do a lot with not the greatest script. I still enjoyed it more than I think most did because I very much am on this mindless entertainment track right now. So,
well, I love
you as the Tragedy Macbeth guy or not.
Yeah, I love the mindless entertainment as well. I mean, I'm not showing a good part of that a lot of the time, but no, in this case, I really loved. I wanted to love this. I wanted to really like this. It just seemed like a no-brainer. You have Dwayne Johnson and you have Ryan Reynolds, and it's like comedic chemistry. Go. I mean, Gal Gadot. Yeah, you're right. She made it. Fantastic. But you have those two, and there's like comedic chemistry enough to go, and they're just operating at different frequencies, and I just feel like it never crossed. And that was like my biggest issue is like, you could do all the stupid fun stuff, you could be in a green screen the whole goddamn time, they were not fooling anyone, but like,
what are you talking about? That scene with the bowl, that was real.
Oh man,
real to me, damn it.
I will say that like, if they do the Ocean's 11 thing, if they bring a whole bunch of people in, maybe that can bring like some sort of like a comedic vibe in there, like punch it up a little bit with a few other people, and get like some sort of chemistry flowing, because the chemistry was the biggest problem there. Give me the shitty action movie, of course. I mean, yeah, I'm still gonna call it a shitty action movie, but give me the shitty action movie. I'll enjoy the shitty action movie, but don't try to give me comedy when it's just not working.
Yeah. know that you're a shitty action movie and lean into that. And I think that by bringing these, if they're going to like blow it all up and bring a lot of faces in, I think that's where they're going. Just lean into the lunacy, and I'm all about that. Again, love mindless entertainment and would love a lot more of it, which I'll talk about in a little bit. Let's completely switch gears here. But the connection to the next story is Gal Gadot. So you may remember little talked about story here with 2017's Justice League. Zack Snyder left the project due to a family tragedy. The movie was finished by Joss Whedon, who was brought on, and over the past year and a half especially, a lot of allegations have been levied towards Joss Whedon during his time there. One of them was from Wonder Woman herself, Gal Gadot, who basically said that Whedon threatened his career. So what we're going to do is dive into his responses to these real quick, because he gave a interview to New York Magazine, which came out yesterday. And apparently he doesn't have a publicist, because if he did, that person's probably fired today for how free he was speaking, because it's ridiculous. But he basically denied the claims, rather, that he threatened Gadot and said, "I don't threaten people." And then went on to say that the miscommunication probably occurred because English was not our first language. So not great. Not a
good start.
Later on, he was talking about Ray Fisher and said he was stunned at the allegations that Ray Fisher had brought up. One of them being that Joss Whedon lightened the complexion of Fisher's skin in the movie. In the final cut. And then also he went on, and this isn't addressed yet in the comments that I'm going to make tonight, but he went on to say to recognize how most of the people of color in the film were cut from the final film that Joss Whedon put together. Whedon said that the claims about the color correction were just false and unjust, and that he was tasked with lightening the entire film. And then also said that Cyborg's role was cut down because the storyline logically made no sense, and that the acting from Ray Fisher was bad. He said, "We're talking about a malevolent force. We're talking about a bad actor in both senses," which to me I take as he doesn't think he's
okay. Yeah,
Ray Fisher, you're a bad actor, and then also
you're
intentionally,
yeah.
The final thing right here. Is he talks about Zack Snyder, and he said that he believes that Ray Fisher and Zack Snyder manufactured a controversy surrounding Whedon's taking on the film, diverting attention from the fact that the original cut just wasn't good. This is just crazy to me. Like, I don't even know. I don't know what the purpose of giving an interview like this is when you're just going to continue to bury yourself under piles of shit. But
this happens with so many of the celebrities that are wronged in some way. Like, I'm siding with them, that are, like exposed in some way, and they feel that they are wronged. And what they do is they go into hiding for not 10 years or 40 years or the rest of their lives, which would be the equitable time and would be what we all desire. No, it's like about 3 to 4 months. And then they pop their heads out and they give an apology, and it's never good. It's never good. It is never a good apology. The apologies are just absolutely never good. I will say the only good apology, and I still, don't love it, and the guy is still a tough guy, but Dan Harmon gave an apology for workplace harassment and on the set of Community. If you ever have the chance to listen to it, it's actually an exceptional apology. It's probably one of the best things, and everyone else should be. I'm distracting from the point here. No one else does this, and they think they're impenetrable. They come so this was your question that you began to ask, where it's just like, why do they think they should come out here? They sort of have this indestructible feeling. They have this feeling that they are wronged. They have this feeling that they are indestructible and that they are right, and everyone will see it that way. But then they decide to go after a few other things there. They say, like, oh wait, let me just go after a possible language barrier, which is just not there. I'll make fun of Gal Gadot for not having any chemistry whatsoever, because that will have some fun with. But the language barrier is not there. I understand her. People understand her. That's not happening. Then you go after Ray Fisher's acting ability, which you know what has nothing to do with he's black. Oh, if he's a bad actor and he's a bad black actor, then you don't cut him for being black. Like that has nothing to do with it. Like what you're doing, and then of course, like by saying it twice, you're already like putting yourself over the edge on this. This was just complete. Yeah, the publicist was not here. Like I don't think. Yeah, we can't even say the publicist was fired. The publicist was not even here.
Present.
There's no such thing as that career anymore. That career disappeared with this interview. There's no longer publicists no longer exist because all of them started to Avengers and Infinity War started to disappear because there's just nothing there. But this upsets me. I hate when idiots are like this.
I want to just add something for a little context here, just to finish out before I go into Jared. But one of the theories that the magazine put forward, based off of Whedon's defenders, were what if Fisher had been doing Snyder's bidding? Without furnishing proof, they speculated that Snyder had tricked Fisher into thinking Whedon was racist, or maybe Fisher knew perfectly well his allegations were bullshit. Either way, the actor and director had manufactured a controversy that made Snyder seem like a progressive ally while diverting attention from the fact that their early cut had been a disaster. Whedon then pointed towards Charisma Carpenter, who you may remember was an actress in Buffy who brought forward some claims about the behavior on set, including when she was pregnant, allegedly Whedon asking, "Are you going to keep it?" and things like that. And she responded to all this today and said, "I stand with Ray Fisher, the quote unquote malevolent force and quote unquote bad actor in both senses, who poisoned my feeble mind with trendy buzzwords and corrupt ideas about my experiences with a former tyrannical, narcissistic boss who was still unable to be accountable and just apologized." And finally, Ray Fisher responded to Joss Whedon and called it lies and buffoonery. 10 points for buffoonery.
Oh man, Charisma
Jared,
Carpenter right there.
Oh
That was
my
great.
God.
Jared, you didn't know much about this, right?
No. I mean, again, this has been, initially it had been brought up 2 years ago or something like that. And I honestly, at that point, I was like, okay, Joss Whedon is done. And then somehow he just, hey, would you like an interview? And it's like, what? Okay, yeah. And I'm sure the interviewer, when he was saying this stuff, the interviewer's like, dear God, this is gold. And any sort of conspiracy of them saying that so-and-so made so-and-so to trick so-and-so, that is insanity. That's the way I think of it. It's like, there's too much going on. That wouldn't make sense. And what's the motive? What's the motive? I think the whole thing, again, he's had so much essentially bad press, or people have said stuff for the last 5 years about him. So it's like, at this point, I don't even know why we're still talking about it. I mean, that's kind of how I feel, but also it's like, well, obviously we know he's not a great person. Everything. Go ahead.
Can we talk about the New Yorker, or New York Magazine, I should say, dropping this on Martin Luther King Jr. Day?
Yeah.
That is a really fucked up distribution tactic. To basically take this story that is, 35% or even more Ray Fisher, a black man, alleging wrongful doing, and releasing this buffoonery, to steal Fisher's phrase, that is ultimately victim blaming and such. It's just, it's crazy to me.
When I have 8,000 followers, and that's a little bit less than the New York Magazine or whatever it's called. But on Martin Luther King Day, when I have my monologue Monday, I'm aware of it. Right. I am going to do something written by a black author or by a black writer. So obviously I chose Green Book. But in this situation, it's just I didn't choose Green Book, by the way. But just let that go. Just make that. I was like, don't let that go, please. Challenge me on that one, please. God damn. But I don't know where I was going with that. Oh no, but just to have that awareness, to have that spatial awareness, whether you are just a schlub talking on a podcast, or you are I was about to say respected magazine. I'll just say magazine now.
Based on that. Well, the good news here is that there's a lot of DC projects that are in the works that won't involve him, Joss Whedon. I don't think anything really will. One of them, here's a new picture of Batgirl, Leslie Grace's Batgirl on the set.
Oh,
so, pretty pumped for it, I think. I like the suit.
Have we seen a picture of the Batgirl yet?
One came out last week.
I was gonna say that was purple though, right?
Yeah, this is too.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
Just
this is
the
purple?
coloring,
Oh, it's
lighting.
okay.
Yeah. Oh man. Well, what a heavy thing to dive into in the middle of the podcast, but let's shift to something a little bit lighter with Daniel Radcliffe playing Weird Al Yankovic
Yes.
in a biopic.
Yes.
This is going to be going to This is going to Roku as in a Roku original movie from Funny or Die and Tango.
Wait, there's still a thing?
Yeah. They
It was
bought
Quibi.
Quibi.
They got canceled. Yeah.
Okay.
They bought
Okay. I
Quibi.
was like, which one's the one that's only 10-minute episodes or whatever?
10-minute episode.
Quibi.
Yeah.
You know who had Quibi? This guy.
You had Quibi.
Only because I wanted Reno 911. The new season. I love Reno 911. Anyway, this is a movie that was written by Weird Al Yankovic and Eric Apple. Don't know who that is. He's from Funny or Die, and he'll be directing as well. That's basically the story here. Yankovic is a 5-time Grammy winner. His 2014 release, Mandatory Fun, was the first comedy album in history to debut at #1 on Billboard's Top 200. That's a really cool stat. So that's coming from Deadline. Jared, Foo Fighters, no, but Weird Al Yankovic, yes?
Oh, yeah. Give me this. I mean, because, okay, sure, Daniel Radcliffe, great, but like putting him in there and just seeing the potential madness. Like, I'm picturing this being potentially like the seriousness of Bohemian Rhapsody with the insanity of just Weird Al's lyrics and stuff. So, like, I want to find out how he made these songs, because also there's that whole thing of he wouldn't make a song if he didn't get like the permission or he had to. So like he would go to these places to try to meet these people to be like, I want to make a song about you. And I'm sure the first few years they're like, who the hell are you? And then the final years, like, yes, please use my song. So like, I would love to see kind of that dynamic.
The biopic promises to, quote, hold nothing back and explore every facet of his life from his childhood through his meteoric rise to fame with early hits like Eat It and Like a Surgeon, while touching on his torrid celebrity love affairs and famously depraved lifestyle. Sean, we have recently talked about Daniel Radcliffe just taking some interesting roles now, especially with, the villain in Lost City coming up with Channing Tatum and Sandra Bullock. But what do you think of this casting?
Well, I mean, Daniel Radcliffe's a weird guy. Like, he just is. Like, he's a talented guy. He like right after Harry Potter, he went in a play where he did some interesting things to a horse, and after that it was just kind of like some very interesting roles from there. And I think he sort of has that crazy angle. He has that goofy angle, so he'll have it here and he'll bring it there. It's interesting that it's from a director of someone associated with Funny or Die, because there is a clip from Funny or Die where it is Aaron Paul in a biopic for Weird Al Yankovic and Gary Cole.
That's the short film. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what it's based off of. And
essentially, yeah.
That's pretty great, actually, because that is it's a pretty solid spoof. It's pretty heartwarming. It's pretty damn funny. It's a spoof on the musical biopic, which, like, I mean, it's already been done. Walk Hard, the Dewey Cox story, which is amazing. But it would also it's going to be great to have it done again, honestly, because the musical biopic is one of those that is always a facepalm because it's psychotically unoriginal. Like, just so to really like go into it here, and to the fact that this guy, like Weird Al, is known to just like mess up songs and everything like that, or the change the songs around or make the spoofs of songs, is sort of like this will be the spoof on that, and there's like some Inception sort of stuff that can happen in there. I'm in, without a doubt.
My question is, why are we not getting like a full length Landlord movie from Funny or Die? Remember The Landlord back in the day?
Man, that was huge.
That was like the first big viral YouTube video, really, if you think about it. It's where's my money?
I'm trying to think of how like that kid's age now. Like, it's Adam McKay's kid and Adam McKay's family. Like, probably kids probably 20 now. Jeez.
And Adam McKay had a falling out with Will Ferrell, so that probably won't be happening. But
oh yeah, that's true. That could come back. I think. I don't think that is as bad as we all think it was. It was because of that Showtime series that's going to be on HBO Max, which I'm going to always say no matter what.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, is it the Shrink Next Door or something?
It's the movie about the it's the series about the Lakers that's called Showtime. That's going to be on HBO Max.
Oh.
And so what I'll do is I'm going to always say it's the Showtime series. It's on HBO Max, and then I'll have a lot of friends.
Moving on. Oscar-nominated Call Me by Your Name director Luca Oh gosh, I always butcher names. Guadagnino. There we go. We're going with that. Okay. Wilhelm and Audrey Hepburn biopic for Apple, according to Deadline. Oscar nominee Rooney Mara will star and produce. I don't know much. I have to be honest. I mean, obviously, I know who Audrey Hepburn is, right? And Rooney Mara, I think, is a pretty solid pick in my opinion, just based off of Breakfast at Tiffany's and My Fair Lady and stuff. But I'm interested in this because it's a character and actress I don't know much about. So I want to know what angle they're going to take here. It's set up at Apple, so to me that gives it a little bit of gravitas, in my opinion. But Sean, your thoughts on Rooney as Audrey?
It's interesting because when I think of like a Rooney performance, there's not much I can give. Like the only one I can give is not her like classical type of performance, which is Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, which is not exactly what she usually does. I can think of Carol, I can think of Social Network. And I think she has that shy quality to her that's really interesting, which is like you just talked about, is the same thing with Audrey Hepburn. Like she had that shy quality to her as well, until something like My Fair Lady, where she kind of goes all out. But it would be interesting to see this. Now, Apple TV is going to be very interesting because now officially I can't say it anymore. I used to say it. Apple TV sucks at promoting for the Oscars, but here we go, Coda baby. Coda, let's hope that Coda gets in that top 10, baby. It's gotta get in there now.
It better be.
Oh man, but you know what? Even if it doesn't, Apple actually did the right job promoting it. They finally promoted something into submission, and it'll hopefully be there. But yeah, no, I couldn't think of a word, but
that was weird.
When I say submission, you laugh at me, but when I drop my Green Book pun, you let it go. Fine. Oh, okay. But I think it's a great casting. She looks great. I don't know. Shut up.
Jared, any thoughts on this one?
I mean, yeah, she looks like I'm going to be honest. I don't think I've been ever exposed to anything via Audrey Hepburn. I mean, Breakfast at Tiffany's, I've never even seen that. I've just seen the poster and whatnot. So like learning about someone that I pretty much don't know anything about, I think that has me right there.
Yeah, I feel like it's going to be similar to Being the Ricardos in a way. Like I knew of them, but didn't know too much of. I guess I even knew a little bit more of Lucy then. But yeah, I'm into this. I'm looking at her IMDb. She was in the A Nightmare on Elm Street reboot in 2010. Rooney Mara.
Oh,
yes.
I was like, I don't think she made it to that.
Oh my god.
I will say, if you're looking for a good Audrey Hepburn starter, she won the Oscar for what I believe was her maybe first film role, if not first like American role or something like that. Roman Holiday, damn good movie, damn good performance. It's just like, oh, great, just great rom-com, like, classy movie. Solid rec.
One final thing before we get to Rants and Raves is the later breaking news today is that We Don't Talk About Bruno surpassed Let It Go to become the biggest Disney song in a quarter century. That's pretty big. Eat it, Elsa.
I will say, I didn't realize this until I heard this earlier, but this could be because of a COVID advantage. I think that Encanto has a bit of a COVID advantage because there's kids at home, and so they just blast that song constantly to keep them from like throwing things. And as someone who's not a parent, I don't know if that's my theory, but just like keep on saying, "We don't talk about Bruno. We don't talk about Bruno." The kid dances instead of screaming. That's
I'm responsible for part of this too because I keep streaming it and playing it.
Yeah, I think there's maybe two reasons. One of which is streaming music is more popular now.
True.
That might be one. But also I got a question. Is We Don't Talk About Bruno, is that on the radio yet? Do people still listen to the radio? Because I remember Let It Go and stuff. That was on the radio constantly.
Now, do those count as so that's like
I don't know.
That's okay. Yeah.
So /film is actually drawing reference to the fact that TikTok is around now.
That's true.
That they're using it for lip syncing and stuff, and that's what's helping spread it.
Does each lip sync count as a stream?
Well, I guess it's just exposure.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny though. Wow, that's kind of insane. I mean, this is on Slash Film, and they bring up other classic Disney songs that are, some of the most well-known, that this is now in the same vein of, but A Whole New World from Aladdin, Can You Feel the Love Tonight from The Lion King, which in the remake they sing during the day. And then Colors of the Wind.
Scene.
Not a single meeting.
From Vanessa, yeah, from Vanessa Williams. Side note, Nicole Byer in her stand-up talks about that movie, and she talks about casting Beyonce as Nala, and she's like, why? And she's like, lions attack or something.
Worst line reading I've ever sat through, where it's just like, lions attack.
Lions attack. She like sent that in on her Apple iPhone notes app. Just play this. God, how terrible. All right, we always like to end with rants and raves. I'm going to start off here. This links back to what I was talking about earlier with Scream a little bit, and it's not taking films too seriously. There has been a lot of discourse with online and stuff about like the negatives with Scream and the issues that people have with it. And I fell into this internet hole via Reddit when I was sitting at the airport the other day, where people were arguing about the hospital scene and the big, it's a big battle and whatever. And they're like, how was nobody else around? Where they do drop a little line earlier on saying they were moving her to a private floor. But aside from that, I mean, it's kind of ridiculous, right? When all this stuff happens and, when one of the characters is absolutely being like bludgeoned to death with a knife in front of her house. And you're like, is anyone out there? Like, did the Ring camera not pop on? Of course we can dissect all this stuff, right? But I think there's certain movies that we just have to allow ourselves to have a little bit more fun with. And this is also a reminder to me as well, because in, doing what we do with like when we get screeners and stuff, and we're trying to be like hypercritical, Encanto is a good example of that. Actually, it's a movie that when I first saw it, I was like, here are my problems with it. And now I've watched it 17,000 times. Shang-Chi actually was another one that I did that with. Weirdly, I don't know. I think I was just like ill that day. I don't know what was happening, but I've watched it many times after. I was sick. I've watched it many times after, and I'm like, what was wrong with me? But just having fun with some of these movies and not always being so critical, I think, will allow us to enjoy a little bit more. And what could go wrong with just enjoying ourselves a little bit more in 2022 when the world is falling apart? Leonardo DiCaprio said today, in Don't Look Up, or at least an article said this, Don't Look Up, they said it was 6 months until the asteroid hit, or whatever, 60 days or 6 months. But he's like, I give us 9 years on this planet. And I was like, well, that's great, Leo. Thank you.
Well, shit, I'm going to enjoy it then.
Yeah. So I'm going to enjoy Scream. So F off, everyone. No, I'm kidding. Sean, I have no idea where this is going.
Okay, so my rave is going to be shows with yellow in the title. I think Jared's got me.
I don't think Jared does.
Oh, no, I know where he's going with this.
So first off, I put in here because I just finished up Yellow Jackets. And Yellow Jackets is just an amazing show. Like it's on its first season. It's on Showtime. No bits here. It's actually just on Showtime. I'm not doing a thing. On HBO Max. But it's good. No, it's on Showtime. It's a girls soccer team crash lands in the wilderness, and then they're trying to survive there. Flash forward. Apparently some shit went down while they were there, but there's still 3 survivors. 3, I believe. Yeah, 3 survivors. And so they're trying to make their way. Now, it goes back and forth between those things. There is a supernatural element involved. It's pretty difficult to kind of pin down what that is. And what's great about this show is it doesn't lean that hard on it. This show is becoming sort of the new Lost. Now, that strikes fear into the hearts of everybody because we all know where that went, and it wasn't pretty. This doesn't go as hard as Lost is, but it is still adding to a certain mystery. But fans are getting involved. People are on the internet, and they're like having this moment where they're just enjoying themselves with the theories that are going on. Not to mention, these are just great human stories as well. If we're just getting great human stories without being like, what is it, shipwrecked, plane wrecked in the wilderness, or like the conspiracies that are going on as they're older, we're getting some great stuff there. I just want to shout out to the cast. We got Melanie Linsky, Juliette Lewis, and Christina Ricci as the adult girls. And so they are unbelievable. They are so good. They're at the top of their game. jump on this show as soon as you can. I know Showtime's not one of the typical streamers,
I was
but
just gonna say it's on Showtime.
yeah, that's what sucks about it because that's not a real channel. But like, if you get it, like, it's an tenth on Amazon, it like really sucks. And like Showtime doesn't just like hop onto Hulu as well or something. But you know, but it's really great. And then the other show with yellow in the title is Yellowstone, and I am on the 4th season of Yellowstone, and this show is considered the most popular show in America. And that is coming from a coastal elite that didn't know about this show 2 years ago. And I am loving every part of this show. This is just like red-blooded American. Kevin Costner owns a gigantic ranch in Wyoming. And pretty much he has like 3 or 4 kids. 3 or 4. That's terrible. 3 kids that he's looking to probably. Oh, no, 4. Oh, well, I spoiled something there. 4 kids. And so, you know, they're, you know, he's wondering who he can inherit it to. It's Succession, but in the country. And, you know, pretty much everybody, like, it's just all of them are different, have different capabilities to like solve problems for him. But it's kind of the best I've seen Costner because it's like, you know, I'm not Costner as an actor is like, I mean, he's a legendary movie star and stuff like that, but I just never really like bought him as an actor. In this, he's just like, he has like, you know, the Marlboro man just like smokes like everything. It's unbelievable how great he is for this role and how great this show is, how many twists and turns. It turns into a soap opera towards the end of season 3, and then it turns into a gunfight right after that, and I'm having a blast again. And I'm telling you, this show is just really, really good. And it gets into the complications of the fact that, yes, they're on, you know, like near reservations, and, you know, basically Kevin Costner's ancestors stole the land pretty much. And so oh yeah, baby, it goes everywhere. And you know, you'd think with that it would be a little bit muted, but it just isn't totally. I forget if I mentioned this is made by Taylor Sheridan. Hell or High Water, Wind River. I mean, like, love this guy. I mean, he, like, and it is kind of for everyone. Everyone will love this stuff. So I realize that I've finished one of those shows. I'm almost done with the other one, but shows with yellow in the title.
When you first put that in the outline, I thought you literally were talking about the color yellow, like titles on a show.
Oh, the title screen has yellow in it.
Yeah, and I was like, is this something with like
Peacemaker?
If it has yellow in the title, I'll be able to stay up later to watch it or something. Like I thought you were going to go into this whole like psychology thing of like,
what do you think? I'm Dan Brown. These like coats.
Yeah, that was fascinating. I need to watch Yellow Jackets. I just sent a message out to our critics group. I'm like, do we have a Showtime contact?
But I want them to send back, what's Showtime? If they send back what's Showtime, I'll never be happy.
It's the Lakers show that's going to be on HBO Max.
Yeah.
By the way,
no, it's not coming out yet. We'll let you know.
Technically, the book is called the book that the show is based off of is Showtime, and they had to change it to Winning Time because they knew that it would be too confusing. And so it's the actual show on HBO Max is called Winning Time, but I'm calling it Showtime because, God damn it, that the world needs to work in that way, and I can't have it any other way.
That sounds like a very pedestrian title. Winning Time.
Yeah, Winning Time sounds so bad, by the way. That's a shit title.
Yeah. Winning Time. You watching that new Winning Time show? Sounds like a pinball Sounds like like a motivational speaker show.
Jared, I'm excited for yours. Go for it.
Yeah, mine. I mean, it's not too big, but it's just it's a big bugaboo for me. You know, initial reactions and tweets, and basically the first weekend night that movies come out, and we're very much in this realm. People love to just tweet out the most bizarre 140 characters of buzzword after buzzword after buzzword. I hope that Ice Road Liam Neeson movie 3 puts my quote in their trailer. It's going to say astonishing and then have your name. That's not a great word. Like, that's a generic word, epic, whatever. Like, make something crazy. Like, this was like the Denny's of action movies. That's a pull quote. That's you go.
Really good pull quote for that movie too.
Like start doing stuff like that rather than these just, because I know it. Maybe I've been guilty of it. You're purposely putting out these dumb sentences because you're like, someone somewhere is going to find my tweet and I'm going to be famous. And believe me, I want a trailer quote. I want a poster quote. I want a DVD quote. But I want it to be unique.
I'm looking real quick here just because I'm 1000% guilty of this.
Again, I know I am, and it kills me, it pains me, but you know what? I want something unique. Like it's the Godzilla of car movies.
So I think Joe, what you like to do is I've noticed that you do a very average review for the tweet, but you manage it so that they could take half of it if they wanted to and put it up there. Like it is absolutely lovely in every way, except for the part in the end.
Well, I mean, like, and this is what's challenging when you get shit like when you get advanced screeners and stuff. Like it's a game. You have to get your reviews out there quick. You're up against everyone else. You want to get as many views as possible. And what a lot of the studios do now, and Jared, you know this, a lot of the studios will say like the social embargo is at this time, but
and then
the full, and it's insane. And a lot of times, like the way that we get screenings in Philly is like they'll be like the social embargo is up at the start of your screening. So then when I get out, like Twitter's going nuts, and I'm like, well, what am I going to contribute to this? I have been quoted twice by movies.
There you go. Trailers?
No.
Posters?
Yes. Trailer for Spiral. Spiral I got, but I was with like 17 others. And the other one was online for Willy's Wonderland back in the day.
Yeah.
And here it is. Because it had the same damn word as every other time that they've even asked me. I always say a blast, and I don't even notice that I do it. But it's like when I'm talking about these fun movies, right? I say like, oh, it's a blast from beginning to end. And I'm like, damn it, I did it again. But like they love those buzzwords apparently, and they always grab those.
You got a poster on Let 'Em Go too.
Did I get Let 'Em Go?
Let Me Go. What was it? What was it called? The Costner Diane Lane one.
Oh, did I?
You got a poster grab on that. I can't remember that one. But that was the one where you gave it a really bad review. That's the one I'm referencing. You gave it a like shit review, and they still took the quote.
Yeah. Well, they I don't believe it was that one, but there was someone they were asking to use a quote that was not what my quote said, and I was like, I would love to be plastered all over like a big movie when you're walking down the aisle in Target or whatever, but I also don't want my quotes manipulated, and I don't want to like.
Wait, they were gonna change your quote?
Not intentionally, and again, I can't remember what movie it was, but like it kind of left some stuff out that just changed. Well, I guess
the
it was
meaning.
intentional.
Yeah,
it changed the meaning, and I'm like, that's not what I said.
Here's the deal. I want you that one that you said a blast from beginning to end. I want to see how many times you can get that specific quote into movies. Like it's just the same generic every time you watch a movie. Just put that out there.
Yeah.
Well, when I watch a Tragedy Macbeth, I'll be like, it's a blast from beginning to end.
Manchester by the Sea, a blast from beginning to end.
Out of control. But it is challenging, and it's such an interesting. There's no rule book to how you do any of this, and like when you first start getting offers for screeners, or when you have 8,000 followers on Instagram, or you're doing TikTok or whatnot, there's no rule book, and it's just trying to figure out like what works for you and then what works for the audience that you're doing. But where I struggle the most is just wanting to stay true to like my voice a lot of the times. And that's what I hang my hat on. Like at the end of the day, I would love to go viral with stuff, but if I don't, it's fine as long as I'm staying true to my voice. I just dabbed, kind of. I don't know why that happened.
It was like that was like if you like were in a neck brace and you tried to dab.
It was like a thriller dab.
I will win this lawsuit.
Oh my god. Well, listen, before we wrap up, a couple things. Tender Bar hitting Amazon Prime Video, The Royal Treatment hitting Netflix, The King's Daughter hitting hitting theaters, A Hero hitting Amazon Prime Video, and Munich, The Edge of War hitting Netflix. Not much coming out this week.
This is a tough week.
It's a tough week. But I will love watching The Tender Bar again because I love that movie, even though Sean hated it.
I gotta say, like that was out last week, I think, even.
Yeah, did it hit Amazon earlier?
Yeah.
I actually don't even know anymore. But yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought it was average.
Jared, we're so happy you were able to join us tonight. It's always fun keeping an eye on the content that you're putting out there, especially like TikTok's absolutely freaking hilarious. So
I'm getting on your TikTok, dude.
It is so damn funny. But why don't you tell people where they can find you?
Well, again, thank you guys for having me on. This was a treat. I'm gonna be honest. I don't think I've been on a podcast, another person's podcast, for about a year. So thank you. But yeah, you guys can find me. I'm on YouTube at JBuck Studios. Same with Instagram, Twitter, and stuff. But kind of my main hub right now is TikTok. Go, follow me. Check out my videos. Again, it ranges from, I wouldn't say dry, but, just movie reviews to trailer reactions to comedy sketches to stuff that TikTok deems inappropriate, even though there's people in thongs shaking their asses. So whatever you want, people.
Whatever algorithm is that
Yeah.
Listen, TikTok is kind of a barren wasteland in a lot of ways, based on the content that actually it's mindless content that makes it the furthest. That's at the end of the day. So the people that put so much effort into it, you'll get some hits, and then the rest of it, you're like, I spent 24 hours on this.
It's like, oh no, 10 views.
Yeah.
Which again, it's I guess for me, it's not. I mean, I want to see some. You put something in, you want something back, but also it's like I'll purposely make a random comedy sketch, put myself into a Spider-Man movie just because I thought can I do it?
Oh my god, is that the swinging one? Is that what you're talking about?
Oh yeah.
Or is that no? You did something different.
I did one recently where it was just me. It was Tobey Maguire, and then I'm supposed to be Harry Osborn, and we're just talking back and forth.
Tonight, when you start getting a lot of likes from Guy at the Movies, it's going to be the videos that I haven't caught through the algorithm yet. But
yes.
Jared, once again, thanks for being here. Sean, talk to you next week.
See you.
As always, thanks for listening. You can follow both Joe and Sean on Instagram at Guy at the Movies and Math Teacher Movies. New episodes of the Guy at the Movies podcast with Joe and Sean are available every Wednesday morning, wherever you get your podcasts. Also, be on the lookout for special spoiler pods, where we dive deep into the latest film releases. If you like what you hear, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. See you next